إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا يا رب العالمين. We thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for His blessing. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us His pleasure in this dunya hereafter. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We continue with stories of the greatest people walking the face of the earth after the prophets and messengers, our heroes of our best generation, the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum. And we stopped talking about just the very beginning of some of the virtues of one of the greatest heroes of the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, and that was last week. That was Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Ja'far al-Tayyar, the one who will fly in Jannah. Tayyar, Ja'far, radiallahu anhu, the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, wa As-Sahabah ajma'in. We talked about some of his virtues and we stopped in another one, and then we're going to start tonight, and then we're going to talk about two of his great stanzas in Islam and for Islam. Among his virtues is that we talked about that he was the one who is closest or the most resembling to the Prophet ﷺ in his akhlaq and his description, physical description. But among another his virtue is the Prophet ﷺ, Ja'far radiallahu anhu, used to have a very great place in the heart of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How we know that? We know that when he sallallahu alaihi wasallam received the very news of his death, of his martyrdom, of Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala, and he became so upset, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, became so sad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was seen his face. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates and says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in the minbar in that day, the battle of Mu'tah in Jordan, he said that the flag was taken by Zayd, then he was martyred. Then was taken by Ja'far, and he was martyred. ثم أخذ عبد الله بن رواحة, and he took Abdullah bin Rawaha, and he says, Anas, وَإِنَّ عَيْنَيَّ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ, and I can see the eyes of the Prophet ﷺ are full of tears because of them. Then he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the flag was taken by Khalid bin Walid min ghayri imratin, without being appointed as an emir in that situation. And Allah Azza wa Jal gave victory to him and to the whole army of Muslims in that day. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became very sad by the martyrdom of all of them three, but especially Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. What is the reason for it? Because he loved him and he loved them so much, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Among his virtues, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took care of his children. He took care very well of his children after the father passed away in the battle of Mu'tah, and he used to visit them a lot, check on them, and making dua for them. Abdullah bin Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, so the son of Ja'far, he narrates and says, لَمَّا جَاءَ نَعْيُ جَعْفَرْ, when the news came that Ja'far he passed away, he was martyred in the battle, Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, اصنعوا لآل جعفر طعاما فقد أتاه ما يشغلهم أو أمر يشغلهم. He said to his family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make some food for the family of Ja'far, and the wife and the children, because indeed they, in this situation, they have a situation that they are busy And that's actually, this is the sunnah. If a person, somebody beloved passed away, the neighbors or the brothers and sisters, relatives, they make food for them. What happens nowadays? We make food for the people. Sunnah is that we make food for that person because he's busy in that day. He is sad, doesn't want to cook anything. So that is the case. So we can get the benefit from here. That's a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So we provide the food for the family of the deceased, especially in the first few days because they are busy for that. Doesn't mean that you can buy the food, or you can cook for them. So that's a sunnah. Not that back home, and even here sometimes they just we make the food and invite all the people, and we're busy and sad for that. Now I'm going to think about the food too. So it's a burden on the side of the family of the deceased. Asma bint Umays, who is Asma bint Umays? Is the wife of Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala anha and anhu, is the wife of Ja'far, and actually is the sister of Prophet ﷺ's wife. So Ja'far radiallahu anh, and the Prophet ﷺ are what? Are brothers-in-law too. They married two sisters. Maymuna is the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, and Asma bint Umays, the wife of Ja'far. They are sisters. They were sisters. So Asma, she said, when Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was martyred, that the Prophet ﷺ went back to his family and told them the same words: Inna ala Ja'far qad shughilu bi sha'ni maytihim fasna'u lahum ta'aman, make food for them. Abdullah bin Ja'far, the son of Ja'far, he raised and said, ثم أمهل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم آل جعفر ثلاثة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he gave them 3 days, so just take care, for your family. This, and I'm going to come because he's busy. So he came to them and he said to them, لا تبكوا على أخي بعد اليوم ادعوا إلي ابني أخي. Do not cry for your brother, or my brother, meaning his cousin, that after today, bring to me his children, his two sons. He had 3 children, two sons. He said, we came to him, radiallahu anhu, Abdullah and Ja'far. Said, فَكَأَنَّ أَفْرُقٌ, is like baby chicks, like little birds, especially. They are aitam now that their father has passed away. How do they feel? Little boys. And the Prophet said, bring to me a barber. The barber came and said, فَحَلَّقَ رُؤُوسَنَا, and he shaved our heads. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Said, Amma Muhammad, because one son, his name was Muhammad, the other son, his name was Abdullah. Amma Muhammad, فَشَبِيهُ عَمِّنَا أَبِي طَالِبٍ. Muhammad, this, looks like Abi Talib. Looks like our uncle, Abi Talib. So he's the grandfather of Muhammad. Awama Abdullah, فَشَبِيهٌ خَلْقِي وَخُلُقِي. Subhanallah, Abdullah used to resemble Ja'far, used to resemble the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Abdullah, him, the one who narrates, said he looks like me, and even in the character, he looks like me, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. ثُمَّ أَخَذَ بِيَدِي. Then he took my hand. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took his hand. فَأَشَالَهَا. And then he lifted his hand. فَقَالَ, he said, اللهم اخلف جعفرا في أهله وبارك لعبد الله في صفقة يمين. قال 3. He said, make dua for us, especially for me. He said, oh Allah, bring a good thing to the family of Ja'far after he's passing away, and give blessing, barakah to Abdullah في صفقة, in any deals he does. صفقة يمين, because the hand, we used to shake the hand, get deal. So the right hand. So bring barakah and blessing to Abdullah in every deal, transaction that he does. And he made that dua 3 times. Said, فَجَاءَتْ أُمُّنَا, our mother came, Asma bint Umays. فَذَكَّرَتْ لَهُ يُسْمَنَا. And she mentioned to the Prophet ﷺ, they are now eitan, they don't have their father. فَقَالَ صلى الله عليه وسلم, الْعَيْلَةَ تخافين عليه, يعني you're scared for the poverty and that you're going to be poor and needy. Said, وأنا ولي في الدنيا والآخرة, يعني I am their guardian in dunya and hereafter. I'll take care of them. So don't worry. You're worried about what? About that they're going to be poor and needy? Don't worry about that. Subhanallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As regarding to his beautiful stances, we're going to talk about two very beautiful stances. And one is his stance in front of Najashi, Negus, radiallahu anhu, by speaking the truth and being strong about it, about Islam. And actually, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib is the first ambassador, first interfaith, but real interfaith. And talking and speaking. His speech that he gave in front of Najashi it remains till now so beautiful and so eloquent, and that how much he spoke. That's why the Prophet said he resembles to me, even in the character, even in the speech. Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Salama radiallahu ta'ala, she said, لما نزلنا أرض حبشة, when we arrived in the land of Habasha or Abyssinia, that we arrived there. جاورنا بها خير جار. And it was the best neighbor for us was who? Negus or Najashi. And we were safe about our religion. وعبدنا Allah, and we worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were not harmed and hurted, and we don't hear anything which we can dislike it. Until that reached Quraysh. How this can happen? So they decided, they complotted, make a conspiracy, what do they say, to send to the Najashi 2 strong men, smart and strong men, and to give to the Najashi a lot of beautiful, lavish gifts, and to give even to his bishops and archbishops gifts before speaking to the Najashi. They had a plan in their mind, a devilish plan, actually. So they sent who? Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'a wa Amr ibn As. Amr ibn As, well known and very smart. Dahiyatul Arab used to be called, and he's one of the smartest guys of Arabia. They sent both of them, and they were like, they're the amirs of that. And they said to them, idfa'u ila kulli fatriqin hadiyatan. Give to every bishop his gift before they speak to the Najashi. Then give to the Najashi his gift. Then ask him to give these 2 men, especially they consider the young youth people from Mecca, to give it to them before letting them speak. That's it. Just give back them to you. And then she said, فَخَرَجَ. They came out, فَقَدَّمَ عَلَى Najashi, and they came to the Najashi, and they said to Najashi, actually they spoke to who? To the bishops. They gave the gifts, especially to the bishops. They said, we know these guys, they are our people, and us, we know better than you know, guys. They're coming with a new religion here. They left us. So these are the best gifts. So please, one Najashi will speak, or if in case he speaks to them or something, or just support us. So they went and they presented their gift to the bishops, and they said there are some young people moving from about freely in the king's land. They have attacked the religion of their forefathers and caused disunity among their people. When we speak to the king about them, advise him to surrender them to us without asking about their religion. Just surrender them to us. The respected leaders of their own people are more aware of them and know better what they believe, because they are from their own people. The bishops, obviously, the gifts are there. They don't know money, everything is. So, okay, labbaik. Amr Abdullah, so they agreed. Amr and Abdullah, they went to the Negus or Najashi himself and presented with gifts with which he greatly admired, the good gifts. Then they said to him, okay, there is a group of evil people from among our youth who have escaped to your kingdom. They have renegated from our religion. They practice a religion which neither we nor you know. And a different religion, mubtada, and a bid'ah. They have forsaken our religion, and they have not entered in your religion. In between. The respected leaders of their people from among their own parents and uncles and from their own clans have sent us to you to request you to return them. They know best what trouble they have caused. Well, they are presenting in such a beautiful way, a devilish way, their case. The Negus looked towards his bishops and who said, now he's looking to their to Mashura. What did they say? He said, they speak the truth. Okay, why? Because the money right away spoke. Their own people know better than them, are better acquainted with what they have done. Send them back so they themselves might judge them. That's it. But Najashi, he was what? He was a very just person. Najashi was quite angry with this suggestion right away, and he said, no, by God, I won't surrender them to anyone until I myself call them and question them about what they have been accused. If what these two men have said is true, then I will hand them over to you. If, however, it's not so, I shall protect them so long as they desire to remain under my protection. The Negus then summoned the Muslims to come to meet him. Before going, they consulted with one another as a group and agreed that Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and no one else should speak on their behalf. So here we get a very good points of that. If you are a group, you let an Amir, and always you have an Amir to speak. What happens to us many times? We point to the Amir and then everybody wants to speak from here and there, different issues. Everybody wants to have a say. Unless you appoint an Amir, and you make, and then maybe you cannot present good your case. In the court of the Negus, the bishops, dressed in green surplices and impressive headgear, were seated on his right and left. The Quraysh emissaries or ambassadors were also seated when the Muslims entered and took their seats. It was court. The Negus turned to them and asked, what is this religion which you have introduced for yourself and which has served to cut you off from the religion of your people? You also did not enter my religion nor the religion of any other community. What is this? Ja'far bin Abi Talib then advanced and made a speech that was moving and eloquent, and which is still one of the most compelling descriptions of Islam till now, subhanAllah. The appeal of the noble prophet and the message and the method of Islam. He said, O king, we were a people in a state of ignorance and immorality, worshipping idols and eating the flesh of dead animals, committing all sorts of abomination and shameful deeds, breaking the ties of kinship, treating guests badly, and the strong among us exploited the weak. We remained in this state until God sent us a prophet, one of our own people, whose lineage, truthfulness, trustworthiness, and integrity were well known to us. He called us to worship God alone and to renounce the stones and the idols which we and our ancestors used to worship besides God. He commanded us to speak the truth, to honor our promises, to be kind to our relations, to be helpful to our neighbors, to cease all forbidden arts, to abstain from bloodshed, to avoid obscenities and false witness, nor to appropriate an orphan's property, nor slander chaste woman. He ordered us to worship God alone and not to associate anything with him, to uphold prayer, to give zakah, and fast in the month of Ramadan. We believed in him and what he brought to us from God. We follow him in what he has asked us to do, and we keep away from what he forbade us from doing. Thereupon, O king, our people attacked us, visited the severest punishment on us to make us renounce our religion and take us back to the old immorality and the worship of idols. They opposed us, made life intolerable for us, and obstructed us from observing our religion. So we left for your country, choosing you before anyone else, desiring your protection and hoping to live in justice and peace in your midst. To the point, nice and sweet. He told with brief points what is about Islam and make sure to point that you are just. So be sure, we know that you are just and you are just. So be sure to just with your justice. Here, don't let what the people are thinking to make you go astray. It was a passionate and moving speech. The Negus was greatly impressed and was eager to hear more. He asked Ja'far, do you have with you something of what your prophet brought concerning God? something from the book. Ja'far replied, yes. Then read it to me, requested Negus. Ja'far, in his rich, melodious voice, recited for him the first portion of Surah Maryam, which deals with the story of Jesus and Mother Mary, alayhi salam. And recited. On hearing the words of the Quran, the Negus or Najashi was moved to tears. To the Muslims, he said, the message of your prophet and that of Jesus came from the same source. After that, to Amr and his companion, he said, go, for by God, I will never surrender them to you. That, however, was not the end of the matter. Amr made up his mind to go and tell the king the following day, to mention something about the Muslims' belief, which will certainly fill his heart with anger and make him detest them. He said, actually, it's called in Arabic, I will tell him something which will pluck them from the city back for once and for all. And he will say something because, what are you going to say? Talking about what they say about Jesus. Peace be upon him. And he went the next day to the Negus or Najashi and said, O king, these people to whom you have given refuge and whom you protect say something terrible about Jesus, the son of Mary, and that he's a slave. Send for them and ask them what they say about him. Because they were mushrikeen, Amr ibn As at the time, but they know, these Muslims, they're not going to lie. What's the book? They're going to say the truth. Then Negus or Najashi summoned the Muslims once more, and Ja'far acted as their spokesman. Najashi put the question, what do you say about Jesus, the son of Mary? Regarding him, Ja'far, he said, we only say what has been revealed to our prophet. And what is that? He said, our prophet says that Jesus is the servant of Allah, God, and his prophet, his spirit and his word, which he cast into Mary, the virgin. Najashi was obviously excited by his reply and exclaimed, by Allah, by God, Jesus, the son of Mary, was exactly as your prophet has described him. The bishops around the Najashi grunted in disgust and what they had heard and were reprimanded by the Negus. He turned to the Muslims and said, go, for you are safe and secure. Whoever obstructs you will pay for it, and whoever opposes you will be punished. For by God, I would rather not have a mountain of gold than that any one of you should come to any harm. SubhanAllah, how just he was. Turning to Amr and his companion, he instructed his attendants to return their gifts to these two men. I have no need of them. Even the gifts, I don't want them. Amr and his companion Abdullah bin Rabi'ah left broken and frustrated. The Muslims stayed on their land of the Negus, who proved to be the most generous and kind to his guests. That was his dialogue with that, radiallahu ta'ala. Make it short because the hadith is long actually in there, but how beautifully he spoke on behalf of Islam and Muslims, radiallahu ta'ala an. And the last mawqif is, or his stance in his bravery and courage shown in the battlefield, in the battle of Mu'tah. That in Battle of Mu'tah, which is in the south of Jordan. And there were, how many from the Muslims in that day? 3,000 only. Wa Jaysh al-Mushrikeen was how many? 200,000. The Romans. 3,000 against 200,000. رضي الله عن الصحابة أجمعين. Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه says, كانت هذه الغزوة أول غزوة يحضرها Abu Hurairah. This was, he says about himself, it was the first battle that he was present. Abu Hurairah was the first battle in that he was present. Why? Who tell me why? When did he accept Islam? Obviously Medina, but when did this happen? Which year? Abu Hurairah accepted Islam after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Treaty of Hudaybiyah was in the 8th year. Okay, so the battle happened after that. So he said, it's the first battle of mine because it just, just accepted Islam. فلما دنا المشركون رأيت ما لا قبل لأحد به. When I see the mushrikeen, I said that there's no way how this great number, how we're gonna win over them. رأيت عددا وعدة وسلاحا وخيلا وديباجا وحريرا وذهبا فبرق بصري. Then I see all of these, like the horses, the men, their weaponry, and the gold, the silver, and everything that I saw in that day. Thabit ibn Arqam, now he's a new Muslim, Abu Hurairah. Obviously, he said it's not like somebody's been in Islam for years. Thabit ibn Aqram, he said to him, Ya Aba Hurairah, كأنك ترى جموعا كثيرا. Because he's been a Muslim a long time. He said, Ya Abu Hurairah, it looks to you that you see a lot of people here in front of you. Too much, 200,000. Can you imagine? Three. Abu Hurairah said, قلت أي والله. And indeed, yeah, I see a lot of people. قال إنك لم تشهد معنا بدرا. Indeed, you are not with us in the Battle of Badr. إنا لا ننصر بالكثرة. This is the principle for Muslims. SubhanAllah. Said, indeed, we don't win because of our great numbers. That's it. Muslims, they never won because of their great numbers. Keep that in front of your eyes and in your brain, always. Because this man, radiallahu ta'ala, he knows, he has experience. That you have not been with us in Badr. So don't worry. Even if there's a 200,000, don't worry. يقول الله عز وجل, he says, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ. Allah helped you and gave you victory in the battle of Badr, and you are weak. You are weak in the of enemy. التحم الجيشان. Both armies, they started the battle. 200,000 people against 3,000 people. And what is this? And we never seen that only with Muslims. This is not the only battle. Even after Al-Parslan, the Turkish, big, huge battle, the same or almost the same, like that. Subhanallah. What is that made these 3,000 people to stand in front of 200 people? What is that motive? You never find, except what is the iman in their heart, standing there. These people, they gave the pledge to die for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's it. They love death more than their enemies love to live. This is a Muslim should be. This is a Muslim should be. SubhanAllah. And is it like they smell Raihatul Jannah. They smell the fragrance of Jannah. That's what they want. He started the battle, and the flag was in the hand of Zayd ibn Harith. And he started to fight until he was martyred, radiallahu anhu. Then Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, he took the flag with his hand, and he was on his horse. وأخذ يقاتل القوم حتى أرهقه القتال, until he got tired on his horse. فنزل. So he came down. فعقرها, and he slaughtered his horse, meaning that I'm not going to move. I'm going to stay here today. I'm not moving. ورفع الراية بيده, and he raised the flag with his hand. والسيف في يده الأخرى, and the sword in his other hand. وأخذ يقاتل القوم وهو يقول يا حبذا الجنة واقترابها طيبة وبارد شرابها والروم روم قد دنا عذابها كافرة بعيدة أنسابها علي إذ لاقيتها ضرابها. I'm going to translate this. It's hard to translate it. Said يا حبذا الجنة واقترابها. I wish, like I'm enjoying or enjoy the Jannah and how close it is. طيبة وباردة شرابها. It's good, and the drink of it is cold. والروم روم قد دنا عذابها. Romans, and they are close to their punishment. They are disbelievers, بعيدة أنسابها, and they أنساب or their relatives or their genealogy far. علي إذ لاقيتها ضرابها. Then it is on me. What's ضراب? I don't know this word in English. I cannot translate that. So it's enough to until there. So he started fighting them until one of them, subhanallah, he hit on his right hand and he cut his right hand. فسقطت الراية. So in his right hand he had the flag. The flag fell down. He took it with his left hand. Somebody hit his left hand. He cut his hand too. فاحتضن الراية بعضديه. And he took the hand with his عضد. From here. What's the no, sorry. In English, I mean. Yeah, from this part. And he took the flag, this part, the elbows here, both. رضي الله تعالى عنه. وما زال يرافعا until so he kept fighting with that until he was shot in one arm and he was killed. رضي الله تعالى عنه. And Allah Azza wa Jal replaced his two hands with two wings in Jannah. That's why it's called Ja'far al-Tayyar. Ja'far, the flying Ja'far Tayyar. Radiallahu ta'ala. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, رَأَيْتُ جَعْفَرًا مَلَكًا يَطِيرُ بِجَنَاحَيْهِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Radiallahu anhu. I have seen Ja'far as an angel flying with two wings in Jannah, in paradise. Radiallahu anhu. وكان ابن عمر رضي الله عنه إذا سلم على عبد الله بن جعفر بن أبي طالب يقول السلام عليك يا ابن ذي الجناحين. Abdullah ibn Umar, when he used to give salam to Abdullah ibn Ja'far, his son, used to say to him, Assalamu alayka, may peace be upon you, or the son of the one who has the owner of the two wings. That's why Ja'far ibn Abi Talib has the laqab or name, At-Tayyar, the flying Ja'far. Ibn Umar, he said, كنت فيهم في تلك الغزوة فالتمسنا جعفر بن أبي طالب فوجدناه في القتلى. I was among the people, the Sahaba in that battle of Mu'tah, and we're checking about Ja'far, and I see him in among the killed, the martyred. وجدنا ما في جسده بضعا وتسعين من طعنة ورمية. I have seen that he had 90 some wounds, either from the sword or from the spear. 90 some wounds. Radiallahu ta'ala. The war that in those days was not easy, and with a sword, and not like that's it, a wound or something. When nowadays, and you may be dead right away. But there, it's all of these wounds, and they still were fighting. Radiallahu ta'ala. And another narration, ليس منها شيء في دبره يعني في ظهره. All the wounds is in front the chest, nothing from the back, because he stood his ground. Radiallahu ta'ala. Indeed, these were the people. Radiallahu ta'ala. He described by his words by saying, من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. Among the believers are some that they kept, or they show the truthfulness, whatever they promised Allah Azza wa Jal. Among them, there are some that they fulfilled their promise, and others they are waiting. وما بدلوا تبديلا. They never changed anything. That's Allah Azza wa Jal to make us among them, and to make us of those who follow the footsteps of Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. Allahumma arda' an as-sahabati ajma'in واحشرنا بهم وبالنبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين. اللهم آمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم يا رب العالمين أنجي عبادك المستضعفين في غزة وفلسطين وفي كل مكان يذكر اسمك الكريم. اللهم كن لهم ولا تكن عليهم. اللهم انصرهم ولا تنصر عليهم. اللهم عليك بأعدائهم الصحابة الظالمين. اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم خذهم أخذ عزيز مقتدر. اللهم خذهم أخذ عزيز مقتدر. اللهم يا رب العالمين انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة فلسطين. اللهم أطعمهم من جوع. اللهم أطعمهم من جوع يا رب العالمين. اللهم داوي جرحاهم وتقبل شهداءهم يا رب العالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.